Today's episode is one that I know will land with so many of you, especially if you're working alone in your business. We're talking about community and why it really matters when you're growing your tutoring business. Because, yes, you can absolutely build your business solo. But I'm here to tell you from years of experience and from working with over 100 tutors, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. I used to think I had to, and it was really hard. And honestly, it's so much better when you are with other people. So if you've ever found yourself thinking, is it just me? Am I doing this right? Why does everyone else seem to have it all together? Then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Upgrade Your Education Business podcast. I'm your host, Samantha, and I'm so pleased you're here. As an education business owner myself and a former teacher, I understand the nuances that only apply to us. So in this podcast, I share fluff-free, tailored and actionable ideas that you can mould to suit your needs. If you'd like to take this conversation further, please do reach out. I would love to meet you. And finally, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review. That way, you'll be helping me help more people. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy. Now, let's start with the obvious. When you run your own business, especially from home, it can just feel a bit lonely. No team meetings, no coffee break chats, no one to bounce ideas off or celebrate a win with. And that can have a real impact, not just on your mood, but actually on your momentum as well. When we're in our heads too much, we can overthink decisions. We can talk ourselves out of ideas. We can delay action because we're not sure if it's the right thing to do. But when you have people around you who really get it, peers, mentors, business friends, you get validation, you get encouragement, and often you get that gentle push to just keep going. Now, this is why a really core part of the Tutors Mastermind are the accountability groups. So we have the community, and within that, people group together. I've seen how much faster people move just by having someone to check in with. Now, there's also something really powerful about hearing how another tutor may have solved a problem that you're facing right now or a mindset issue. You might learn a new strategy that someone else has already tried and tested, so you don't have to start from scratch. So, one of the most valuable things about community is that shortcut that it gives you. You might hear how someone handled a difficult client, raised their prices and still kept their clients, found a new way to market themselves that actually felt really good, loads of different things. And we're really lucky because I know I talk about the Tutors Mastermind, but there are so many things around us. There are networking events, WhatsApp groups, conferences, just so many opportunities to be part of communities, not to mention things like really good Facebook groups. And really leaning into and participating in communities can really make an impact. Last week, one of the masterminders was stuck with cancellations and she felt quite powerless. So she brought it to the group, and not only did others share how they solved a very similar issue, she also left with a rewritten policy and a renewed sense of confidence. So it really can have an immediate impact. Being part of a community moves the needle faster than any downloadable freebie. Now, before I carry on, I will make one important point, and that is to be mindful of making decisions by committee, so to speak. Places like Facebook groups are fantastic for asking questions and finding out how others do it. And it's especially great if you don't have the confidence yet or the means to invest in support. However, when you take this approach, just make sure you do your research properly. Don't just go by what the majority say. I'll give you an example that really prompted me to make sure I shared this with you. I remember seeing a post from a brand new tutor who asked the community how they should get started with attracting clients. The majority of the thread was filled with people advising to set up a Facebook page and start posting value, show people how you can help them. Now, if I wasn't in the position I'm in, I would have advised exactly the same because that's what I did 8 years ago and it worked. But because I actually work with tutors and I keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the marketing and sales world, and what's not. I mean, just yesterday, I attended some training with Meta to find out the latest news about Facebook marketing. So, because of that, I know that that advice isn't really solid anymore. It's a little bit outdated. Now, I know a lot of masterminders listen to this. So, if you're in the mastermind, watch the bonus training on what's working right now on Facebook. If you feel like you need an update. And of course, if you're not in the mastermind, you can click the link in the show notes or go to tutorsmastermind.com to get instant access. The point here is that in communities filled with peers, people will naturally and generously share what they did. But that advice may not be relevant anymore. Maybe it worked for them a while ago. So, by all means, ask the questions. Use people's comments as a steer, but don't take it as gospel. Back it up with your own research. If you don't have the means to work with someone who can give you a more accurate answer, you can do it yourself as well. Now, moving on to accountability. Accountability is probably one of the most underrated business tools. I talked about it briefly earlier. Now, it's underrated because even when we know what we want to do, staying consistent can be really hard when no one's watching. In fact, interestingly, 99% of my one-to-one clients say that this is actually what they need. And that's why they specifically work with me on that basis, because they want accountability. They want me to take a lot of that thinking away from all the ideas zipping around in their minds. I've heard tutors say, they'll sort their website out next week and that carries on for months, swap website with something else. We all have that one thing that we keep delaying. In fact, I often am that person and I really rely on the people around me to help motivate me or just to hold me accountable. So accountability partners, working with a coach, however you do it, it's really, really powerful. Something that's taking you months could be done in 2 weeks purely because you have that. Now, accountability doesn't mean pressure. It doesn't mean shame. It just means knowing that someone's cheering you on and they'll gently nudge you if you disappear into I'll do it tomorrow land. So whether it's in a formal group, a business buddy, or a weekly check-in with a peer, just building an accountability will really help you show up and actually follow through with what you intend to do. Now on to networking without feeling uncomfortable. The word networking can feel a bit corporate, like awkward small talk in a room full of people in suits. But let's reframe that. Networking for tutors like us is actually just about connecting. It's chatting to people who get it, sharing ideas, supporting each other, sometimes even collaborating. And when you find the right community, those connections feel really easy and natural. In my world, I've had tutors collaborate on webinars. They refer clients to one another. They co-create resources. None of it was forced. It just kind of happened because the relationship was already there. So if you've been craving connection, but you hate the thought of selling yourself or putting yourself out there, doing that 2-minute pitch in a networking meeting, remember that networking doesn't have to be formal. Sometimes it's a chat that just sparks something bigger. So where do you find this right community, the right community for you? Not every business group or online community will be the right fit. You want somewhere where people get you and the world you operate in. You don't want to feel like you're the smallest fish. You want to be able to ask questions without feeling silly, and you want to be somewhere where you feel really comfortable showing up. So it might be in a business membership for tutors, like the Tutors Mastermind, but it could also be a small accountability pod, so to speak. It could be a local tutor meetup, a WhatsApp group with just a few peers. The key is, however you do it, don't do it alone. You don't have to. Find your people, let them support you, and be open to giving support others as well. Because community works both ways. We know that. And that's actually what makes it so powerful. So, some final thoughts. Community, in my opinion, isn't really a luxury. It used to feel that way to me. I actually think it's a strategy. Let me leave you with this. You don't have to earn a community. You don't have to hit a certain stage in your business before you deserve support. It's not a luxury. It's not a bonus. It's a strategy, one that makes business lighter, faster, and a whole lot more fun. So if you're nodding along and you're thinking, this is what I need, you're not alone. I created the mastermind because I knew tutors needed more than just information and training. We need space to ask, to share, to connect. And that's exactly what's inside. But of course, the mastermind isn't the only membership out there or the only community. Choose something that's really, really aligned with you. So if this episode sparked something in you, whether it's just a reminder to reach out to a tutor friend or to finally join that group you've been lurking in, take the next small step to make it happen. Thank you as always for joining me, and you'll hear from me on Wednesday. Would you like to take this discussion further? Perhaps you have some questions or you'd like more ideas on tailoring your business. If so, book a free discovery call through the link in the show notes.